Elon Musk has refused service in a cafe because of a hat he is wearing. But the next day he returns and does something unexpected. What happened next will change the way you think about progress. The bustling cafe in downtown San Francisco was known for its artisanal coffee and tech-friendly atmosphere. Nestled between sleek, glass-fronted startups and historic brick buildings, the Progressive Bean had become a symbol of the city's unique blend of innovation and social consciousness. On this particular Wednesday afternoon, the normal hum of laptop keyboards and quiet conversations was interrupted by an unusual scene unfolding at the counter, one that would reshape not just the cafe's future, but spark a wider conversation about prejudice and progress in Silicon Valley. "I'm sorry, sir, but we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone," the barista stated firmly, her arms crossed. Her name tag read Tara, and she'd been working at the cafe for 3 years, proud of its reputation for being on the cutting edge of both coffee culture and social justice. The tall man in front of her wore a simple black hat, jeans, and a plain black t-shirt with a jacket on it. Nothing about his appearance seemed particularly remarkable, save for the MAGA logo on his hat that had apparently caused such offense. The other customers began to notice the commotion, some pulling out their phones to record what was happening. The morning sun streamed through the cafe's large windows, highlighting the growing tension in the air. The man remained surprisingly calm, speaking in a soft South African accent that a few people in line found oddly familiar. A group of tech workers from a nearby startup exchanged knowing glances but remained silent. "I don't understand," he said quietly, his fingers drumming thoughtfully on the counter. "I've been waiting for 40 minutes. What exactly about my hat is problematic?" His tone carried genuine curiosity rather than confrontation, as if he were conducting an impromptu social experiment. The manager, Lisa, emerged from the back room, a stern expression on her face. She'd built the Progressive Bean from the ground up over the past 5 years, transforming it from a simple coffee shop into what she considered a beacon of forward-thinking values in the community. "Sir, we do not support a specific interest here, and we try not to cause commotion amidst our customers. We would be happy to serve you if you removed it." The man in the baseball cap looked around the cafe, taking in every detail, from the "Everyone Welcome" sign prominently displayed on the wall to the array of sustainability certifications proudly framed near the register. His eyes lingered on the AI-powered coffee machines that had been featured in local tech magazines, and the detailed infographic explaining the cafe's solar power system. A slight smile crossed his face. Not one of anger, but of curiosity, as if he had just encountered an interesting puzzle to solve. "Very well," he said simply, turning toward the door. The morning light caught the metallic threading in his hat's logo, making it shimmer momentarily. As he walked out, he paused to look back at the establishment's name, the Progressive Bean. The smile never left his face, but there was something in his eyes, not anger or resentment, but the spark of inspiration that those who knew him would have instantly recognized. That's because the man in the baseball cap was Elon Musk, though on that particular day he had been trying to maintain a low profile. The hat that had caused such controversy bore the "Make America Great Again" logo, but little did he know it would lead to such denial. The tension in the cafe lingered long after Musk's departure. Tara, the barista, found herself defending their position to several regular customers who had witnessed the exchange. One elderly gentleman, a retired professor from Stanford, quietly packed his laptop and left, shaking his head. A group of young software developers who regularly worked from the cafe's corner table began a heated discussion about the intersection of technology and social justice. Lisa retreated to her office, where she spent the afternoon reviewing the cafe's mission statement and marketing materials. The words "progressive" and "inclusive" seemed to mock her from the carefully designed posters. She thought about her daughter Jamie's passion for international politics, and wondered what kind of example she was setting sending a man away because of his hat. What happened next would become one of the most talked-about incidents in the city's recent history, though not for the reasons anyone might have expected. It would challenge assumptions about progress, technology, and the very nature of prejudice in the heart of America's innovation capital. The morning had started unusually for Musk. He'd woken before dawn, troubled by dreams of Mars colonization challenges, and decided to walk the streets of San Francisco rather than immediately diving into his packed schedule. The city had always fascinated him, its steep hills reminiscent of his childhood in Pretoria, its fog-shrouded mornings carrying whispers of innovation and possibility. He'd left his phone behind deliberately, wanting to experience the city without the constant digital tether that defined his usual existence. Walking through the financial district, he'd observed the stark contrasts that made San Francisco unique. Homeless individuals sleeping in doorways beneath towering monuments to technological wealth, street artists creating masterpieces beside automated parking meters, traditional fruit vendors competing with robot-delivered groceries. These juxtapositions had sparked something in his mind, thoughts about how technology could bridge divides rather than create them. Musk had been visiting several small businesses in San Francisco, trying to understand the challenges faced by local entrepreneurs in an increasingly digital economy. He had deliberately chosen to dress down, wanting to experience the city as an ordinary citizen rather than as the tech billionaire everyone knew him to be. His Tesla was parked several blocks away, and he'd walk the streets unrecognized, observing the subtle interplay between technology and traditional business that made San Francisco unique. The Progressive Bean had caught his attention because of its innovative approach to sustainability. They used AI-powered coffee machines to minimize waste, solar panels for power, and had implemented a revolutionary composting system that local environmental groups often cited as a model for other businesses. Their mobile ordering system, developed by a local startup, had won several innovation awards. As someone passionate about sustainable technology and its practical applications, Musk had wanted to learn more about their operations firsthand. The cafe had started as a simple dream 5 years ago. Lisa Galloway, a former tech industry project manager, had wanted to create a space that embodied both Silicon Valley's innovative spirit and San Francisco's social consciousness. She'd invested her life savings and secured loans based on a business plan that emphasized sustainability and community engagement. The Progressive Bean had become known for its innovative approaches. They were among the first cafes in the city to implement a blockchain-based supply chain tracking system for their coffee beans, ensuring fair trade practices and environmental responsibility. Their water recycling system, designed by a local environmental engineering firm, had won awards and been featured in sustainability magazines. Everything pointed at an extraordinarily progressive atmosphere inside the cafe, so he hadn't expected to become the subject of discrimination based on assumptions. The irony wasn't lost on him. A cafe claiming to be progressive had judged him solely based on their perception of what his hat might represent, without any attempt to understand the actual person wearing it. It reminded him of earlier challenges in his career, when people had dismissed his ideas about electric cars and reusable rockets without taking the time to understand the technology or its potential impact. Perhaps the greatest irony of the morning was that despite the cafe's tech-savvy clientele and staff, no one had recognized one of tech's most famous faces. The same customers who had Tesla apps on their phones and SpaceX launch schedules in their calendars had walked past their founder without a second glance. Even Tara, who had an Anton Starman poster hanging in the break room, failed to recognize that she was refusing service to the subject of her daily podcast discussions. The hat and casual attire had achieved what millions of dollars in privacy measures couldn't, giving Elon Musk a moment of genuine anonymity, only for it to be shattered by prejudice against a MAGA hat he was wearing. Throughout the afternoon, Musk couldn't shake the experience from his mind. During a meeting with his executive team at Tesla's headquarters, he found himself sketching ideas on his notepad while discussing quarterly projections. His chief of staff noticed his distraction. She'd seen that look before, usually right before he announced another seemingly impossible project. By evening, he had formulated a plan, not one of revenge or public shaming, but something entirely different. Something that would transform a moment of prejudice into an opportunity for innovation. The next morning, the Progressive Beans staff was preparing for their usual rush when a fleet of Tesla vehicles pulled up outside. The sight of 5 Model S cars and 3 Cybertrucks parking in perfect formation along the street drew immediate attention from passers-by. From the lead car emerged Elon Musk, wearing the same MAGA hat as the day before, but this time accompanied by his chief sustainability officer and several engineers, each carrying tablets and scanning the building with various instruments. The gathering crowd outside the Progressive Bean had grown substantially, with curious onlookers pressing their faces against the windows. Among them was Jamie Galloway, Lisa's teenage daughter, who had rushed over from her high school robotics club meeting after receiving her mother's panicked text. Jamie stood transfixed, her own prototype solar panel design clutched in her backpack. A science fair project she'd been too nervous to show anyone. The sight of Musk's engineers scanning the building with their sophisticated equipment made her own efforts seem amateur. But something in their methodical approach resonated with her budding engineer's mind. Tara, the barista from the previous day, nearly dropped the cup she was holding when she realized who she had encountered the other day. Lisa, the manager, rushed forward, already forming apologies and trying to explain that they weren't discriminating but just trying to protect their business place. She didn't realize earlier who he was otherwise. But Musk raised his hand gently. "I'm not here for what you think," he said, his voice carrying across the now silent cafe. The handful of early morning customers had stopped mid-sip, phones already recording. "I'm here to make you an offer that might help us all learn something about progress." Over the next hour, Musk explained that he had been impressed by the cafe's commitment to sustainability, despite their misguided judgment of him. Rather than publicly criticize them or seek retribution, he wanted to make the Progressive Bean a pilot location for a new Tesla sustainable energy system that would completely eliminate their carbon footprint. The system would integrate cutting-edge solar technology with advanced battery storage and AI-driven energy management. "Yesterday you refused to serve me because of assumptions about what my hat represented," Musk addressed the staff and gathering crowd, his voice carrying the same gentle curiosity it had the day before. "This hat represents the dream of making America great again. But before we can do that responsibly, we need to take care of our home planet. Your cafe's commitment to sustainability is admirable. Let's turn this moment of misunderstanding into an opportunity for progress." Lisa, fighting back tears, accepted his offer. But Musk wasn't finished. He announced that SpaceX would be partnering with local educational institutions to create internship opportunities for students interested in sustainable technology, with the Progressive Bean serving as a real-world case study. The cafe would become a learning laboratory where theory met practice, where the next generation of innovators could see firsthand how technology could transform local businesses. "The best response to prejudice isn't more prejudice," Musk stated, as news cameras began arriving at the scene. "It's education and innovation. Let's show how technology and understanding can bridge our differences. Sometimes the greatest opportunities come disguised as obstacles." The story quickly went viral, but not as a tale of conflict. Instead, it became a testament to turning misconceptions into opportunities. Social media exploded with discussions about the intersection of technology and social progress. The Progressive Bean became known not just for its coffee, but as a symbol of how innovation and open-mindedness could transform a moment of discrimination into a catalyst for positive change. In the months that followed, the Progressive Bean's new Tesla energy system reduced their operating costs by 70% while eliminating their carbon footprint. The cafe became a popular spot for students and entrepreneurs interested in sustainable technology, with the original MAGA hat incident commemorated by a small plaque that read, "Where preconceptions ended and progress began." Local schools began organizing field trips to learn about the energy systems, and college students used the cafe's data for research projects on sustainable business practices. The cafe's atmosphere evolved as well. The walls, once decorated with generic social justice posters, now featured a carefully curated exhibition of space exploration imagery alongside information about environmental innovation. The baristas, including Tara, received training not just in coffee preparation, but in explaining the cafe's various technological systems to curious customers. Lisa later reflected in a local newspaper interview. "We learned that true progressiveness isn't about judging people based on what they wear or what we think they represent. It's about being open to new ideas and willing to admit when we're wrong. Sometimes the best lessons come from our biggest mistakes. Now, when I look around our cafe, I see a place where humanity comes together to create something better than we had before." The cafe's transformation went beyond mere technology. The staff underwent comprehensive training in both technical systems and cultural sensitivity. Lisa implemented a new hiring policy that emphasized diversity of thought alongside other forms of diversity. The cafe began hosting monthly forums where community members could discuss controversial topics in a structured, respectful environment. Its customer base diversified, attracting people from all walks of life who came not just for coffee, but for conversation and connection. Nobody knows if Elon Musk has been back as a customer since the first incident. Perhaps he'll sneak into the cafe again one of these days, dressed in his usual black shirt and pants, to make sure that the progressive in Progressive Bean is not just a pretty adjective, but a true description of the cafe's personality. Have you ever witnessed a moment where prejudice or misunderstanding was transformed into something positive? What would you do if you were in Lisa's position when Elon Musk returned to the cafe? Would you have embraced the opportunity for change? Or would the embarrassment have held you back? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and thank you for listening to this remarkable story of innovation and redemption.